Welcome to your local agent podcast, episode 9.
The only way that you can grow is if you continue to add more team members. When a realtor is growing, it depends on the area. Like Regina said, being a realtor is not just like, oh, I sell houses. You can only handle a certain amount by yourself. We're not good at everything.
Doing the marketing and the lead generation and this, you do it all yourself because, as a new agent coming in, it's already costly with your licensing and then with for your realtor, your MLS. How can I spend this money to make more money? Definitely, yeah, in the beginning, it's probably going to you're going to have to wear multiple hats. If you don't work here, it's like you don't know when your next check is coming.
The salesperson in us, we see a million possibilities when the client is just looking at one thing. But you really never lose in real estate if you play the game right.
Welcome to your local agent podcast, episode 9. Today is very special. We're gonna bring back Regina, right? She's amazing. You've probably seen her in my last couple of episodes. Now you could check that out. And we also have a special guest. If you could sort of introduce yourself for me, please.
My name is Gabriella. I am the broker owner over at Dream Life Realty, which is the brokerage where Regina belongs to.
Awesome. And tell me, Gabby, tell me a little about yourself. How long have you been a real estate broker, and what inspired you to pursue this career path?
I've been a real estate broker for 10 years. I guess an agent for 12. And I started in real estate back when the market actually crashed. I was working for a company that was helping homeowners save their homes. From there, I ended up working at a real estate firm. And it's funny because I actually posted on social media 10 plus years ago, I know what I want to do. I want to be a real estate broker. And I actually have a screenshot of it. And I did it. I first became a realtor, did the requirements to become a broker. Once I was a broker, did the requirements to become a mortgage broker, and here I am.
Awesome. And Regina, we think is that like your same goal, or that where you're trying to be at as a broker, or are you just good as an agent at the moment?
Honestly, no, I don't see myself as a broker. Gabby's always busy, and so I don't know if that's my specific career path. I'm more looking into the investment side. So once I learn what I got to learn as a real estate agent, I'll probably just focus on investing.
Awesome. Always great to hear investing. Investing is really the path to wealth. And Gabby, back to you. As a broker, what specific qualities or attributes do you look for when interviewing potential agents to join your brokerage?
Honestly, in this business, when a realtor comes into the office, it's really both the realtor and the broker interviewing each other. So the same way the broker wants to know who's coming on board their brokerage, the realtor wants to know what company are they joining and what does the broker have to offer them overall. I honestly, the most important thing for me is the liability that comes with being a broker, the realtor's ethic, and their honesty. Because when you interview with them, for me, it's more of a personal thing. This is very personal to me. This is what I do for a living. This is where I eat from. This is where my children eat from. This is where I'm going to retire from. So I need to take care of my license. And as a broker, you are responsible for everything that the realtor does, or any type of trouble the realtor gets into, you get pulled into it as well. So for me, and I think for most brokers, I think the most important thing is the realtor's ethic, and their honesty.
Awesome. And Regina, how were you when you first got into this brokerage? Were you type nervous in the interview? Can you sort of break down how was it for you when joining this brokerage?
So when I started, I kind of just didn't do my research. I kind of just went with what sounded good, and quickly realized that was not the best thing to do. So then I started looking at local brokerages that I could interview with, and Gabby was fairly new, I believe, when I found her. She was just starting. And so I interviewed with a bunch of big names, and it just didn't feel right. It felt like they wanted, me to be just another worker bee in their brokerage. And then I met with Gabby, and it was more personal. It was like we understood each other. She understood what I was looking for a broker, and it just kind of it was natural that we just connected in the way that, like how she mentioned, honesty, being available, it's a working relationship. She's making money, I'm making money, so we have to work together. And I instantly felt that, where it was like, okay, she has the same view of this work as I do. So then it was just natural that I was like, I'm gonna go with this one. I don't care if it's new. It just felt right. So that's what I did, and I've never looked back. I'm happy here.
Awesome. Will you say like environment really plays a key part? Like, let's say other agents in your team. How is that sort of environment when you with you and your other realtors?
For me,
yeah.
It's good. I mean, they're always, they're very friendly. It's a small group right now, and so I mean, it's only gonna grow. But as of now, I've never had any issue. Everybody's always open to help, friendly. No complaints on my side.
Awesome. So, back to you, Gabby. For agents considering joining a brokerage, what key questions do you recommend they ask the broker to ensure that it's the right fit for their career?
I think, like Regina mentioned, you have to keep in mind that when you're coming to these brokerages, it's not an interview for employment. You have to see, does the brokerage have to offer what you need? Agents change what they need as they move along in their career. So in the beginning of your career, what you need from a brokerage may be somebody to be on you, and somebody to have a schedule for you, and somebody to make sure you're committed, and then somebody that makes you accountable. And as you move along in your career and things change for you, and once you create your own good habits and you create your more system, you may need something different for yourself. So I think you need to first ask yourself, what do I need this brokerage to do for me? And do they actually have it to offer me? Some agents work better, or individual, right? As an individual, maybe you work better on a one-on-one than sitting in a classroom and being required to go to training 3-5 times a week. Some people like that. It works for them. It motivates them. Some people think, you know what? I just need somebody to be available for me. I'm already cooking up my own clients, or I'm already cooking up my own deals. I just need somebody to be available for me when I'm trying to put them together. So the most important thing is ask yourself, what do you need? Do you need somebody to make you accountable, or can you be accountable for yourself? The only way you're going to make money in this business is if you work. So are you going to work on your own, or do you need somebody to force you to work? Those are questions that you have to ask yourself before you interview with the brokerage, so that you know if they have what you're looking for. And the reality is, every broker wants realtors. Every brokerage is like, yeah, come on board. But the reality is, can they give you what you need? And if they can't give you what you need, you're going to end up moving again. And moving brokerages every couple months doesn't look very nice, and it's not very fun to have to do often. So ask yourself, what do I need? Do I need somebody to make me accountable? Do I need somebody to provide me with the full schedule? Do I need somebody to call me and ask me, where am I? What am I working on? What am I cooking up? Or can I do that on my own? That's what I think is most important.
Yeah, very, very informational. It's like a lot in there. I was just really curious. Based on like since you were a realtor and then move on to being a broker, did your goals sort of change when you shifted into becoming a broker? Like, what were your goals when you were once a realtor, and what goals shifted once you become a broker? You don't mind me asking?
I think even for myself, the way I say, like Regina said, her goal is like, she already knows what she wants, right? She said, I'm going to become a realtor and get into the investments. And that's where I'm headed towards. I think for me, things have also changed down the path. I was a realtor. I figured out if I became a broker, nobody would keep any cut of my money. All my money was mine, which in the beginning was what was important. And then once I became a broker, I realized, hey, if I become a mortgage broker, also, I get to double dip in both sides. Like, it's more money for me. But I managed a Remax for 4 years, about 6 years back. And things changed. I wanted to work for myself. I did it for maybe 3 years. And that worked out very well financially. And just, I worked good on my own as well. But you know what? Things change, and sometimes opportunities come up in front of you and you have to take them. So when I opened up the brokerage, it wasn't me thinking I want to have 20, 30 plus agents. I want to have an escrow. I want to grow this thing bigger. But as time goes on and I continue to work harder, they say the harder you work, the luckier you get, right? So as I continue to work harder and I continue to focus, more agents continue to come. And as more agents continue to come, I have to continue to keep growing. So in a way, I think, we have our own plans in our head of where we think things are going to go, but opportunities continue to arise. And when those opportunities come up, I take them and I'm continuing to shift and to mold myself along, with the process.
And yeah, and same for you, Regina. Now that you moved from being alone to working with the brokerage, have your goals sort of, like you mentioned earlier, you're trying to go to investments and all of that, right? But was that the same goal you had in mind before you joined the brokerage, or was that something that you thought about once you joined the brokerage and because of the environment and all of that?
No, because real estate is like such a big umbrella, and you don't really know what your niche is or what you're trying to do until you're actually in it. And you're like, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. Because I mean, there's a million ways to make money in this industry. You just gotta focus and be like, what works for me in this time in my life? What works? And I mean, that's evolved from like when I started, because I was coming in not understanding a lot of those aspects about all the avenues. And once you're in it and you start seeing the different ways that agents work, how the people around you work, you're like, okay, this is where I want to direct my focus and this is where I want to go. And then you take that and then you learn it and you perfect it and you get good at it. And then if, like she said, it's like in life, I think like things just start to open up for you when you know that this is where you're supposed to be. And so as things come up, it's like you do mold and shift, but you do have to understand that it's like what fits your personality, because it's not one size fits all. And then there's a million ways in this industry to make the money, but it has to be in accordance to you and how you work and how you are as a person. So for me, it was like, no, I didn't know. I was like, oh, I'm a real estate agent, and that was all encompassing. But once I was in it, it's like, oh no, I'm this type of agent, or this is my niche, this is who I want to work with, this is what I do well. And so yeah, definitely. But you do have to be open to those opportunities and pay attention to them when they come up. Like, this is for me because more things are coming up in this area that I'm in.
Awesome. So this is a question for really both of you. So based on what I heard, do you think that doing everything by yourself works at the beginning, but then once you slowly grow, once you slowly start getting more traction, you have to expand? Or is like, do you have to do everything by yourself consistently, and then only once you feel comfortable do you start growing with like trusting other people? I don't know if that got the question right.
Do you want to go first? Go.
Yeah, so I would say even for a realtor, but on the brokerage side, as you grow, the only way that you can grow is if you continue to add more team members or you delegate. So for a brokerage, it would be additional staff, additional team members, additional departments. As the company grows, the only way for us to continue to grow is to continue to have additional staff, right? When you're running a company, I would say it's the same thing with the realtor. When a realtor is growing, like, it depends on the area. Like Regina said, being a realtor is not just like, oh, I sell houses. No, there's so many different ways to create revenue and to do business. But even when you're busy in that volume, using a transaction coordinator, even eventually having an assistant, the only way you can continue to, with any business, continue to bring in additional business, you can only handle a certain amount by yourself. And I think for me, I've learned along the way is we're not good at everything. We may be good at bringing in clients, but we may be not good at being on top of our paperwork. We may be good, you know what I mean? So you learn who you are and how you work along the way, and you learn what works best for you. But once you hit a certain point in your career, you have to accept, okay, do I continue only at this volume, or do I bring additional people on board so that I can continue to reach a higher level and I'm able to delegate to other people?
Cool. Yeah, and for as an agent, I think a lot of people don't understand how much money goes into it in the beginning. So yeah, for me specifically, yeah, there's a lot of things. I was like doing the marketing and the lead generation and this. You do it all yourself because I mean, as a new agent coming in, it's already costly with your licensing, and then with for your realtor, your MLS, all that stuff starts to add up. So I mean, unless you already have like a savings nest that you can pull from, and you can be like, oh, I'm going to use this money to do this and this money to pay this. Realistically, in the beginning, you're going to probably be doing a lot of that yourself. But like Gabby said, you don't take a commission check and be like, oh, I'm just going to go and blow it. It's like, now you have to take this check and be like, how can I spend this money to make more money? And so then it becomes whether you have to either pay someone, like you said, maybe you're not good at posting consistently on social media, or maybe you don't like doing the paperwork, so you are going to delegate. Well, I'm going to get a transaction coordinator every time I do a transaction. So yeah, you definitely have to learn to allocate the money, because it will become overwhelming if you try to do it all yourself. And something's going to fall through the cracks. Something's not going to be done right. So definitely, yeah, in the beginning, you're probably going to you're going to have to wear multiple hats. But as you evolve as an agent, you definitely have to delegate your tasks, because if not, it's going to be really overwhelming.
Totally. Yeah, a recent line just really came up with my last call is like, you don't eat unless you sell. I remember when this realtor told me about it. It's like, you don't eat unless you sell in this type of industry. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And also, does your first home has to be your dream home? I always ask that question. I know Regina answered it, but I just want to get your thoughts on this. Is, does your first home have to be a dream home? And if you don't eat unless you sell in this industry, just want to get your thoughts on that.
Regina, I'll let you go first.
Okay. So as far as you don't eat, yes. I mean, unless you have some side hustle or you have to work to make money. I mean, that's just a given. You don't eat if you don't work. That's just in all areas, right? Not just this field, but this one is hard, because you don't, unlike a 9 to 5 or something that you go and punch in at, you know that you're getting your check at the end of the week, at the end of every 2 weeks. If you don't work here, it's like you don't know when your next check is coming. So, so yeah, definitely yes to that. As far as your first home being your dream home, purely objective. I mean, if you want to wait for your first home to be your dream home, go for it. That's purely your decision. But realistically, I mean, if you can't afford, I mean, depends on what the person wants, but maybe someone's first home wants to be $1 million home. It's gonna take you a while to get there. You have to grind. So maybe you want to start something more tangible, something smaller, and upgrade to the bigger home. But that's purely objective. So no, I don't necessarily think it has to be, but it could be. If that's the type of motivation you have and drive you have, it can definitely be. But now, for most people, I would say that you want to get in somewhere and then eventually move up to the dream home.
Cool.
I would say, where you said the realtor told you if you don't sell, you don't eat. That's true. And I always tell people, when I like to eat very well, so that means that I have to eat very hard. But
because I like filet mignon. Because I like lobster and steak.
Oh my!
I mean,
fancy.
What I tell people as well is, and I tell realtors, is people always talk about like where the market is and where the market's going to go. And that realtor told you, if I don't sell, I don't eat. That is the mentality of, it doesn't matter where the market's going. I need to eat. So I need to follow that market. I need to figure out where that market is headed. I need to figure out where the business is. And I think that is, I don't necessarily want to say a hungry realtor mentality, but that's an entrepreneur mentality. It's like, I need to eat. So it doesn't matter what's going on around the world. Like, I need to continue to figure out how I'm going to continue to generate business, generate leads, take care of my clients, stand out, because it's true. If you don't sell in this business, you don't eat. And if you don't eat, you cannot continue to grow, and you cannot continue on the path, Now, with the first home be your dream home, statistics show, I always tell people, numbers show, you're going to end up doing something with that first house within the first 3 to 5 years. Once you realize that you're able to get on a flow with that first mortgage payment, once you realize, oh, I can do this, then it helps to push you into moving on to the other home. I've seen people upgrade 2-3 times, like, hey, I can do this. They end up renting it out, moving to another one. The second one, they may end up selling it and then moving on to a bigger one. The most important thing is, it's not just the dream home, it's building the wealth. So if you can buy, if you are in the box, if you're ready, willing, and able, and you qualify, just buy. Even if it's not the neighborhood for you, it will be the neighborhood for someone else, and someone else will pay that mortgage for you, and then you're able to move on to the dream home that you want.
Yeah, investing, right? Just touching back on Regina said, that's the beauty of investing, right? And that leads me to another question: is in your brokerage, Gabby, would you say you guys are investor friendly? What I mean by this is that, like, every time a person comes up to you to buy a dream home, you first tell them, hey, this could be your first home, or you could rent it out, or make it an investment property to buy your next home, and then buy your next home again. Do you guys sort of tell that to first time home buyers as a bonus, or what's the sort of
I
process there?
think I think in sales, or the realtor in me, it's it again, the business, there's kind of two aspects of it, right? There's the one where you're actually helping a client, you're helping a customer, you're helping a person, an individual build and make the biggest decision of their life when it comes to wealth. I do not like to steer clients. I am very friendly in all aspects, but I don't like to steer a client into convincing them to make a sale. It was like, look, maybe the house doesn't fit your needs, but it'll fit somebody else's needs. But I do explain to them the facts. This house can rent for this much. If you move in and you don't like it, or if the market is not allowing us to go higher in a purchase price for you, this is where we're capped at. This may not be what you want now, but you don't have to stay here forever. That's honesty. That's facts. Of course, the salesperson in us, we see a million possibilities when the client is just looking at one thing. The client's looking
Mm-hmm.
at the closet small, and I'm looking at neighborhood, school district, rental market. But that's just the way our
Yeah.
brains work, But in the part of a salesperson, you never want to push on your thoughts and your like desires and like where your brain is going on to the customer or to the client, because at the end of the day, some of them are just looking at like, this is where I want to retire. I only want to do this once and I don't want to go anywhere else. So it depends on the customer, but our skills and our experience and our mindset is always going to drive somewhere else. And I do like to share and explain the facts and the knowledge with whoever I can, with the buyer, with the investor. But ultimately, it's whatever their desire is. But we do explain to them, these are the possibilities. Whether or not you take them or you go that route is up to you. But my thing always is, what's the worst that can happen? We sell the house. We rent the house. You never lose with real estate. And you only sell when it's high, you're not going to sell when it's low. So even if that property comes down in value, then you'll just rent it and you hold on to it. But you really never lose in real estate if you play the game right.
Is this the same that applies to you, Regina?
No, like she said, I mean, that I think that's really key. Not all customers are the same, and so you have to ask a lot of questions. You have to understand what their goals are in the next 5, 10, 15 years, to be able to give them the best advice for what their needs are, right? Because we're looking at it like all the possibilities, but like she said, if that person is of middle age and they're like, well, I'm not trying to do it. A lot of people, they just overcomplicate it, or they think, oh no, I'm not trying to do all that. And that's fine, because you're not here, like you said, to convince them to do anything specifically. You're here to just present them the information and they make the best informed decision. So yeah, naturally, you have to understand who your client is and what their goals are in the next 5, 10, 15 years to be able to be like, hey, these are your options for your goals. And if you just give them information, maybe at that moment they didn't really think anything of it, but maybe down the line, hey, I remember you mentioned this, and they'll probably reach out to you with plans to do something, because sometimes people just want to feel like they came up with the idea, or that they decided this. So you kind of just just always just provide information, give value, and present facts, like she said, and you can't go wrong, because nobody ever wants to feel like they're being pressured into anything. So you have to thread that line delicately, where it's like there's a difference between me pressuring you and the difference between me just giving you information and you make the decision. So definitely understand your client, because not all clients are the same.
True. Just my last two questions here. Just respect your time. I just really want to know what's the difference between a franchise brokerage and a non-franchise brokerage. Kind of curious on that one.
So, like Regina said, when you are a realtor and you interview brokerages and decide where you want to go, a franchise is a large name, a Remax, a Century 21, a
Berkshire Hathaway. Yeah.
I'm sorry. What is the one that starts with a W?
Oh, William, Keller Williams.
Keller Williams. There you go. KW, Keller Williams. So, for me, in my experience, I managed a Remax. I see very successful franchise brokerages, very successful realtors that are with franchise brokerages, and I see very, very successful realtors that are with non-franchise brokerages. I think it comes down to, as you grow in this business, you realize that it's not the name that you're carrying over your business card that builds your business. It's you. It's your service. It's your expertise. It's how you continue to stay current with the market, how you continue to stay educated, how you continue to go to trainings, how you continue to service your clients as like if they were you, like if it was family, like if it was somebody you cared for. But for new realtors, I do think it's important. And I never look at like, I want every single realtor to even come onto my brokerage. I think that the realtor needs to understand what they want. If they feel like they will build themselves better carrying a big name over their head, and once they build themselves, I see a lot of agents go from a Remax, and of course, the bigger the franchise, the bigger the cut the broker keeps. So I've seen them go from a big franchise to saying, okay, I'm ready. I don't need the franchise name anymore because it's not carrying me as an individual. Now it's me. I'm the one. I understand that it's me, that it's my hustle, that it's my drive, that it's my, skills and mindset that are continuing to bring the business. And then they'll switch and they'll go to a non-brand, because the non-brand will make them more money. But it's not just that. It's understanding what you need and thinking, maybe if I go to a bigger brand name, it'll help me build myself faster, or it'll help me build myself in a way where once I don't no longer need the franchise name, I feel like I'm completely ready and prepared. So franchise would be when you go with a bigger name, you go with a bigger company. They do offer a lot. It just depends on what you need. So a Remax name will charge you more monthly, and they will take a little bit of a bigger piece of your commission. But if you don't feel very confident in starting to build yourself as an individual realtor, you feel more confident carrying the name Remax, and you feel like that's going to help you, hey, go for it. We're all different. If that's going to help build you, go with it. If carrying a Century 21 is, very common in your area, or very common in your neighborhood, or very common in your market, roll with it. But eventually you get to a place as your business grows and as you grow as an individual, where you think like, do I still need to carry this brand? Do my clients care that I'm with Century 21? Or do my clients care that such and such referred me because I did such a great service for them? So franchise would be bigger name. And also, don't not go with the bigger name because you're thinking, oh, they're going to keep 30% of my commission. 30% of nothing is still nothing.
It's still nothing. Yeah.
So nothing. Never in the beginning, and I think in any business, never think like, well, that mom and pop shop is only going to keep 10% of my commission, and that Remax is going to keep 30% of my commission. I'll go with the mom and pop shop. Can the mom and pop shop help build you? The same way that Remax can help build you. You have to pay your dues. I think the mom and pop shop or the smaller brokerage, because even my brokerage, it's a smaller brokerage. I can do a lot of the one-on-one. I cannot hold your hand and put you on a schedule. And I'm very honest. Remax, you know what I mean? A bigger corporation, something that's established a different way, will be on you and make sure that you're working the hours you're supposed to be working and putting in the work you're supposed to be putting in the work, so that you can get to where you want to get to. I cannot get you where you want to go. You got to do that yourself. But I'm here to help you and guide you along the way. That is where you have to see the difference between a big brokerage and a small brokerage, and see if they have what you need And that is where you should go, regardless of how much it's going to cost you in the beginning.
Now, touching base on my last question, is what valuable advice do you have for new realtors who are just starting out their career in the real estate industry? And this could be for both of you guys.
Regina, you want to go first?
Okay. So my biggest advice would be definitely understand the industry that you're going into, because like she said, if you're just coming in new, I mean, you have to really evaluate what it is that your objective is, what your goals are. And I would definitely say that for some people, if you have no background in this, if you've never done this a day in your life and you're like, I'm just pursuing this dream, then maybe going with a franchise might be for you. Just because you need to get into the momentum, you have to see how things work, you need to get deals, you just need to see that side of it first. And as you evolve, yeah, maybe those priorities will change, but definitely understand the business. Ask a lot of questions wherever you go, because like she said, you're not just, I mean, yeah, they have the name, but you're still something that is going to come in and potentially make the money. So it's not just a one-way street. It has to be a mutual thing. So ask a lot of questions, understand your industry, and go in there with the mentality that they need me just as much as I need them.
Okay, cool.
I agree with the last thing you said. I agree with everything you said. But real estate is not easy. It's very rewarding. Yes, it is. And I think that people have a concept of, like, you see social media and you see realtors and you see Mercedes-Benz and you see for sale signs and, you know, you see
selling something and all the HGTV
you see great interviews. And, you know, I think that just because just because you can make a good video on social media, just because you can give good content on social media, doesn't mean you're a good realtor. And it's the same way when you visit a company. Just because they carry a big name, just because they throw a training schedule at you, that doesn't mean that's what you need. You know, can you pick up the phone and call somebody? Is somebody going to answer? Is somebody going to text you back when you're trying to put a deal together? Do you feel connected? Do you feel comfortable? You know, this business is not easy, and it's not a one size fits all. It's not a one size fits all. Just focus, work hard, and don't forget, real estate is not about commissions. It's about helping people. And I think a lot of people get lost in that part of it. It's like, ooh, commission 10, 15, 20 grand. The bigger the sales price, the bigger the commission. No, some of these people are people that have been working 15 plus years to save for that down payment. You know, you're helping somebody with the biggest financial decision of their life. So your honesty and your ethic, it's gonna go generations to come for that family. It's not just that $10,000 commission check. It's like the wealth that you're building for the generations to come, because we are setting example for the generations behind us of what can be done. You know, not all of us come from a line of homeowners in our families. So don't lose sight of what you're doing. I think is going to be my biggest advice. Don't lose sight of what you're doing. Yes, we all have to eat, right? And we eat with commission checks, but don't lose sight. You do things, and if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, right? So you have to do this with a passion. You have to love what you do, and remember, at the end of the day, you're helping people. You're not cashing checks, you know? You're helping people. And I think that's the most important thing.
For sure. That part, you have to care. You have to care, because, I mean, people can see right through that anyways. And so you have to be genuine. And like you said, it's not about a commission check. Like, yeah, everybody, we get paid because we're putting in work and hours. I mean, we have to be compensated, but at the end of the day, you have to care about who you're dealing with and your clients and their best interest. And that speaks loudly, and that's what's going to make you have continued success. If not, it's just always going to be a paycheck, and that's not gonna be long lasting, in my opinion. So I definitely agree.
Cool. Lastly, where can people find you and on what social platforms?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram, rcm.realtor. I'm on Facebook, Regina Castro Morales, and I'm on LinkedIn, the same, Regina Castro Morales, and my website is www.rcmrealtor.com.
So for us, the office brokerage social media is at Dream Life Realty One. We actually have two brokerages. So there is at Dream Life Realty and at Dream Life Realty One. The company website is www.dreamliferealty.co. We have two locations, Fontana, Downey, and you can find us also on Google, on Yelp. Thank you for having us. I appreciate your time as well. Regina, I appreciate your time as well. It was actually a nice chat. As for me, I love what I do, so I'm very passionate even when I speak about it. And I appreciate being interviewed by you.
Awesome. Thank you. And remember, guys, check out all the description below. Remember, if you guys are interested in investors or interested in other home inspectors, remember, check them out the videos so to interview them. And remember, follow them on the social media. And yeah, have a great day. Take care, guys.